Welcome, everybody. Every single Wednesday night, we promise to bring you someone that's interesting, that dedicated their life to cryptocurrency. I call these people crypto lifers, okay? And that's why I bring you a new crypto lifer every single Wednesday. I'm here with my man, Dylan from Crypto Banter, all right? And he's been all around the world. I met him in Miami. He's from South Africa, I believe. We're going to find out a lot more about him, what makes him tick, how he got into trading. Dylan, how's your day going? How you feeling? Thank you so much for coming to the Crypto Lifer channel, man, and getting to know us over here.
Sam, so good to be here. Thank you so much. And what a first meeting we had in Miami at one of the greatest traders' houses. Gareth Soloway had this party, and we were there, and we were just vibing, and yeah, we got on so well, and it was so good to talk to you. It was just great. Just lovely to be here, and thanks again for the invite.
What a great night that was, though, right? I still think that one of the greatest nights of my life, because we work so hard to be influencers. We get a part of this community. We don't know each other yet. And you kind of throw your hat in the ring to see, you know, who you are and what you bring to the table. And then we all got to meet that night. And it was like everyone who had dedicated themselves to crypto YouTube.
And so many good people, just nice people. You know, you walk in a room, sometimes you're not sure what you're getting and what you're feeling, but just such good people around there. And talking to you was obviously a privilege, and we got on really well, and we had similar trading styles, and you're very interesting. And there were some interesting characters arriving through the night, but they all, you know, we all had this crypto in our blood, and there was this whole vibe with everyone. It was just lovely. People from different countries, different languages. It was crazy. And it's amazing what crypto can do, and what it can do for people. And now look, you and I are talking across the ocean. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's like the language of blockchain really brings people together. So how did you get into blockchain? Were you a trader first? Did you then get into crypto? Were you into crypto who then became a trader? Everyone has a different story. I'm so interested in everybody's story.
So I used to play around in crypto, and back then crypto for me was BTC, maybe XRP. You know, we're talking 2016, 2017 levels, when nobody really understood what they were dealing with. We were buying some magic stock or magic money. No one knew what it was, but it was up, down, up, down, up, down. And, you know, inevitably we had that pump, and then we had the dump, and people got hurt, and it went to zero. And like everyone else, I started losing interest very quickly, you know, but I had a few bags left over that I used to just keep an eye on every now and again. And sort of late 2019, I started watching some of these guys trading, and I was fascinated that they could figure out the price by looking at charts and things like that. It really like struck me that these guys were making money buying, selling at certain levels based on a picture and some lines of the chart. And I started thinking, geez, you know, if these guys can do that, like, I'm going to give it a go. And I started like reigniting my interest in crypto, and started that way. And then I started speaking to stock traders and networks that I was in, and started perfecting my skills, and basically just became a trader. You know, so now I'm trading crypto, I'm trading stocks, I'm trading gold, oil. You know, if it has a heartbeat, I'm going to try and trade it. If it's got a chart, I'm going to look at it. You know, I'm going to look for good areas. And yeah, I mean, trading's become my life. And it all started with crypto.
What was the hardest thing that you learned when you began trading, like that you can think of? Or what was the biggest obstacle you remember? Like,
it's so difficult.
Did you ever almost want to turn away a few times?
100%. It's actually difficult. Some, you know, guys like you and I, we can make it look quite easy. Our charting is nice. We got the good levels and stuff. But, you know, I'd say 70% of trading is mental, and it's dealing with the highs. It's dealing with the lows. It's not getting ahead of yourself. It's not being greedy. It's not having hope when you are down. You don't want to rely on hope when you are down. You don't want hope to bring your price up for you, and you don't want greed to keep your price up for you. You just want to eliminate that from your trading. And you know, that was one of the toughest things to learn. You know, in the beginning, you make a lot, then you lose a lot. You make a lot, you lose a lot, and mentally, it's so taxing. And once you can get your head around that, I think things become a bit easier.
Yeah, for me, I started in, like, I guess, speculative investing, created a big enough bag, I guess, so I could take some, not huge enough, but enough to just get myself away from work, give myself, like, I'm going to trade for 6 months and see where it goes, you know? And I remember one of my first 6 months of trading, or even a year, 14K in the account, like thousands of trades later, I had 13,800 bucks. You know what I mean? And I was like, hey, well, you know, if the year before, like, I suffered more. So I was like, hey, I only lost 200 bucks and I made thousands of trades, you know? And it's like, it is like I would build up an account, and then right before I go to bed at night, just make one trade, and then wake up the next morning and would have lost, like, would it just taken me 5 days to make because I made one impulsive move. I tell everyone, you're as good as your last day. Like, even me and you, like, I've learned my skill is as good as my impulse. Like, I could ruin it all every day. Everyone thinks every trader is, your skills are like temperamental. Like, I mean, your TA, right? But then it's like, you have to control yourself. You know what I mean?
It's that emotional roller coaster. Like, I watch so many charts every day for our community. I prep charts. I've got 20, 30 charts every day. It's so mentally difficult to not want to get involved in all of them. And the discipline behind that of trying to have one position instead of 20, if I see 20 opportunities, it's a proper struggle. And I try and tell people, just focus on a few, get 3 or 4 charts that that you work with, and they become part of you, and you know how they flow, and you just trade those. It's very difficult if you're watching too many charts, really.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, because me being like a trading group leader, you start becoming a trader, then you become a trading group leader where you're posting charts for people all the time. And then you realize, like for me, like my brain, I have to stick. Like, I know it's like a certain type of person to do it. Like, I have to stick to my trades and then post out the charts, but I can't take every trade that I'm posting. It's like, but I see some things, and there's so much discipline involved in that. Some days I miss a trade, but everyone hits it, and I just feel good. At least I put it out for the group. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you get that joy, right?
Yeah,
of helping everyone else. And yeah, it's great.
Fall in love with the community. So, speaking of community, you guys brought me on to Banter recently. It was an amazing experience. I met Sheldon. I connected with him as my father had recently passed, and he had hugged me. It was like a brotherly moment there. That's why I feel you guys are already becoming like a part of my crypto family, and that I really have this feeling of love and passion for you guys. So, how did you get involved with Banter? What's it like every day over there? It looks so much fun. Like, I want to run around with a camera. It looks like you guys' offices, people are running around. Like,
we have a great time here. There's a great vibe here. There's good people here. We all get along well, and we all have the common goal, and we have this community, and we just want to help. We really want to serve our community and give them whatever we can, and we're having fun along the way. Sheldon, what a legend! He's such a great guy. Humble beginnings in Johannesburg, part of Joburg. You've seen his story. I'm sure some of the community have seen his story. Run I've known for many years. Socially, our wives were friends, that sort of thing. So that's how I kind of met everybody, and I brought my trading to the Banter team. I was trading independently, doing my own thing, and Sheldon and I obviously got on, and we started catching a few of these trades during the bull run when Sheldon started at Banter. And yeah, just slowly got more and more involved in the back end workings of the sniper team and Banter.
Yeah, what's it like coming in every day? Do you guys like have breakfast together? Is there big lunches? Do you have dinner parties? Like, are there pranks? Do you guys run pranks? Like, other
we got a vibe here. There's a lot of fist pumps. There's a lot of laughing. There's foosball here. There's table tennis. The office next door, the guys love golf, so we do a lot of putting in their office all day long. I can hear them swinging golf clubs. But
do you have the digital golf with the screen, and you can kind of like
they swing in real golf clubs in their office. There's a couple of broken TVs, but yeah,
just a few flat screens. Got
great work culture here. The people work very hard. Runner's a great leader. Sheldon's a great leader, but we have a good time.
No, he recently just put out a video. Like, it was, he was like, we're going hard here, like no more BS. But I was like, oh man, like they're setting down the culture over here at Crypto Banter. I got to interview him when I saw him in Miami. Great guy. Also came from humble beginnings, told me a little bit about where he started, and it just, I think that's a part of all of us, right? Like me, my dad was an iron worker. My mom was a school teacher. Put a picture of my dad working structural steel this morning. Like, he was swinging, like he was hundreds of feet in the air, for his son to have what I have now. So like, I respect you guys in your community. I could even feel the vibe when I was on your channel too. Just such good, positive people and positive,
right?
Energy,
it's really good. Yeah, we're just loving it.
Now, as you continue to grow, right? We're seeing big things happening in cryptocurrency. The ETF is kind of above us and coming in. Someone said to me, Tom Lee, the guy, he's like an Asian dude that always makes price predictions of Bitcoin. He was saying 150,000 would be the clearing price, right? If all these ETFs had to go grab spot Bitcoin. And on top of that, we're getting less Bitcoin on the exchanges. How does that make you feel about the next few weeks to the quarter four? Do you see an all-time high breaking before the halving, or do you see could we get to 50K before the halving? Like, what's your, and again, just, with a grain of salt, but what's your feeling as we enter the quarter four of 2020?
So the interesting one about the BTC, less BTC on exchanges, obviously we've had so much FUD with exchanges, so we got to take that with a pinch of salt. We can't say it's all bullish. It's obviously some people being cautious with Binance, the other exchanges out there, taking BTC off exchanges. So we have to assume that that's part of the deal. The ETF thing, I think when that gets approved, we're going to have a mega candle like we've never seen. But I think leading into it, there's going to be hype. And I think once it's approved, we might be dealing with a major sell-off, on that day. And then everyone will sort of get together, gather their thoughts, and then I think we'll get firing again. But
so buy the rumors, tell the news kind of thing.
I think we're going to sell that. We're going to sell that news hard. But maybe leading into it, into the event, 24 hours. I think things could get wild, but then there's going to be a massive sell-off.
Now, what's your take? I was trading. Bitcoin was in a diamond. Like, it was in a diamond. I was watching it for days. Diamonds reversed back to the upside. What's your take on that? Did the news create the pump yesterday, or was that going to happen regardless? Did they somehow get overlapped?
That was incredible. I mean, and as traders, we always say, like, the stories in the charts often before, and minutes before that, we were looking at BTC and these alts dropping into these perfect support zones, and we were saying we should buy the support. It's looking good here, and then they just started popping off. It was absolutely ridiculous. I was expecting the Asian session to pick things up and carry on buying, or at least support where we were last night. So I was quite disappointed to see the massive drawdowns now. Matic, ADA, they've almost reset.
Yeah.
Solana hold well.
I called short last night at like 8:30 last night, because the way I play it, when you get away from the 21, and the 4 hours just too far from the 21, and to me they're still too far. So like the 4 hours just kind of have to, like, and it's even I get caught up. I was trading the 30-second chart yesterday because I was trading the 30. I never traded the 30-second chart
yesterday.
I've been trading the 30-second chart on and off for the last 24 hours. But had I just zoomed out completely, I made some good scalp trades, but I just zoomed out completely, left the trade alone last night, and said, listen, 4 hours got to come back to that 21, and just left it alone, But yeah, it looks like we're gonna. I see 26.8. Maybe the weirdest thing is we could go right back to the beginning of where we started right here. You know what I mean? Or pretty close to it. So.
Well, that's my concern. I'm looking at the BTC chart now while we're talking. So this is how I'm breaking it down. I mean, the way you work your magic with all your MAs is really impressive. I need to definitely take a few leaves out of your book there. I'm using the 200-day, the 200-week for this BTC on the daily. So this is just an area that we identified as a strong sort of rejection zone. And we actually just pushed through that. There was a bit of a squeeze, but they've been sending us back down. And I've targeted this zone, this 26.8, as my sort of level, where my panic zone. If we start losing that, we sort of resetting, I would say.
Well, it's a golden pocket. If you draw the fib, it's the golden pocket. Yeah. And it's funny. I'm going to show my chart in a second, but me and yours have the exact same area pinpointed, and for different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, TA, it's very subjective, but we all get to the same result. I mean, we've got some guys using volume profiles and all sorts of other things, and we often just get to the same picture, right?
I wanted to show you stochastic RSI, though. You use the Stoke like me. Those are the Stokes now. Yeah.
So I've got the Stoke down there. I've got the MAs. I love fibs. I love horizontals. Trends come into play. I just love high impact areas. And I've got an example here, like DOT for one of our tokens we were trading yesterday. We got it on the live session. We had the retest. We bought that support. And then we had this mega pump into our TP zones, which were preset. So we've preset these areas that I manage in our community Discord. So we had the 618 pump for DOT. We had a similar situation with AVAX, 786 and Trend. We knew it was exit time there. But I was expecting slightly less of a pullback, to be honest. I wanted a little bit less. I wanted to see flags develop. I wanted to see some more consolidation, and I wanted at least one more push up. So something like AVAX, I was looking for a flag of sorts, just something here. Totally. And they just came and they sold us all the way down. And now we're fully resetting, and we're back in these sort of high impact areas now. And are they going to hold? We're going to have to wait and see. You know, BTC's, we got to see where BTC sits now.
Yep. Could make a right shoulder kind of there, but yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Are you looking at that?
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Spot on. Yeah.
Yeah, and that takes us to trend. You know, we keep it simple. We work on our trends, our horizontals, our fibs, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, first higher low. You know, can we put in the first higher low and go from there? And at the end of the day, I don't care how many algorithms or indicators people use. All of us here that consider ourselves like, you know, we do it every day, like pro, amateur, whatever you want to call us. We do it for a living. We know our support resistance. We know our fibs. Yeah. You know, we know key levels. Like these are things that we all know. Then we can kind of span off. But like, there's definitely 5 or 6 main foundational aspects that we all use. You know, that's why I love it, because me and you can sit and talk, because like I've spent so much time on fibs and so have you. You know, and it's fun because you don't get to have these conversations about these things that you spent so much time in your brain with other people. You know?
I love these fibs, and I love talking to other traders. It's the absolute best. I mean, I could spend hours just talking about fibs. I get so passionate about them, you know, especially the 618 power that we get. And we get these massive moves with the 618. I just love it.
Is there anything you want to show me before I jump into my screen share?
I was just running through a couple of altcoins, trying to just see where they were and how we were dealing with them. Aave, for example, we had a nice trend break on Aave. So I was looking for this retest buy. I really enjoyed Phantom. We heard some bullish news coming out of Phantom lately. We've heard some of their projects are generating decent fees again. There might be some gaming aspect coming there with Phantom. So suddenly we're looking at Phantom again. We broke through this nice little resistance zone over here. You could see it was quite big resistance for us. Now I'm looking for it to hold here for another push up. I quite like that area. And I've got this backup down here on trend and 618. If things pull back a little bit harder, you know, I'm still comfortable down to that trend.
Interesting.
So I'm quite keen on Phantom at the moment. Sheldon's also liking it. Matic full retrace. How was that?
Crazy,
might get another support buy. But here we are again, fibs playing their part so far. Eyes on this trend as well. So things are looking very much the same, you know, unless we've got some unique tokens out there. The basic top 40s, they have a similar structure to them, you know, sort of a reset back to where we were. So now we're waiting on BTC. I want to see some consolidation there, and then maybe we get another push.
I feel like they're being good to us, you know, because like you have so much time to accumulate the best projects in the game. Like Matic at 57 cents. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It's gonna be $5 coin. I don't see how it's not, you know. Like, so
yeah.
Cardano's in a good spot.
Do you think we're gonna get another opportunity for lower?
I think the altcoins always can bleed. You know what I mean? You know how like Bitcoin could pump again, and like you never know. I'd have to like really look at the charts. I never like say anything until I really look down at like total. Total defended 1 trillion really well. Like, you know what I mean? We'd have to, it's like a psychological level. Total 3, the altcoin, all the altcoin, not total market cap defended 1 trillion really well. We didn't lose $1 trillion market cap, you know, looking at that every day and looking at key levels. I had a serious trend line drawn and was like, we can't break it. And we didn't, you know. I'm making that into like a symmetrical triangle kind of that's like beginning to, like a very large one. Yeah, I played that as a diamond on the 4-hour time frame. That structure.
I'd like to see your diamond setups there. If you could show me, that would be very interesting.
All right, so I'm looking at the 4-hour time frame mainly, and what I'm watching was I studied this over and over again, and I back tested it for like basically 7 years, right? So once price action pumped, you'll see me immediately. We hit the 200 SMA number 1. And I know that's like a very likely area to take, for some reason, bots just sell that immediately. People program it. So it always seems to be an area where boop. So once that happened, I figured we were done. You know what I mean? For like the macro move. And I called I was calling 28.2, 28.200 and 28,000. We got it. And we got it on like the wick on the set on like I was actually trading the 30.
Down to the 7-minute candles there.
Yeah, I was on the 30-second. It was insane. This move right here. I'm watching because we get the pump, right? And once we get the pump, I'm like, you know, I'm like you're saying, I'm looking for consolidation, right? Because I'm like, well, how hard is this gonna, like, can we come back into this? So we got this huge pump. Where were we here? Sorry, we got lost in the let me go back to the 7. Sorry. Take me a second to convey this, but it's so interesting. I want to be able to show you. So I saw, where are we? Okay, yeah. So we consolidated here. And so the second I saw this, I just, the thing about being a pattern trader too that I like is once you're a pattern trader, like I trade all different things, but the pattern gets me the most excited. Now other things get them more excited, and they miss like easy pattern trades. Like, so I've gotten so deep into my indicators, and then I'm like, had I just traded the pattern, man, you know? And so I always tell myself to step back and remember the pattern, like as much as, so I saw this. Now I'm a moving average guy, so I don't like to get into the moving averages get tight. When I saw that the 200 and the 21 sandwiched, I just was like, that's like, I was like, I'm in, you know what I mean? Like it was like I've never felt so like such a strong feeling that I was going to win the trade. But I was like, I started the trade here, and it like just kept going and going, and we eventually hit it. And once we hit that, there was a huge divergence, and it kind of was like, you know, like I had already played multiple like little flags in the 30-second, you know, like I was
So,
like,
so you play these MAs on all time frames, the
yeah,
200,
yeah, because they work everywhere. So like, see, look right here. I was pointing out someone today. See how we pump up here, and then we can't really pump again till we touch the 200, the 21 SMA. Every time frame will do this. So like this to me is the same as what's happening on the 4-hour right now, right? The 4-hour pumped up hard. It got too far for the 21, and it's going to have to retrace, and it usually will retrace down. So look, if we look at the 4-hour now, we pumped up too hard, right? We got too far away from the 21-day moving average. And the second that happens, I know we're going to have to come back to it. Like it's just, and then you draw a fib, and you just have to patiently wait and get your emotions out of the way, right? And just know that you're coming down to that 618 somewhere, right?
Yeah, there we
go. There's a chance that we're going to do this, and we consolidate like this, and we don't go to the 618. We just do this, but eventually that 21 has to touch. I know it. Like we're not going to get a huge pump until the 21 and the price action touch each other. Like, and you'll backtest this on any time frame you want. Like today, I was like hammering it away on my live. I was like,
so what is your preferred? Is your preferred the 4-hour?
I switch. It's weird. I used to have a preferred time frame. Now I know them all so well. I kind of can like, it's like another level of like kind of subconscious mind. Like I switch into which one at different times. Like for instance, this is weird. The daily super overbought now, getting overbought. If I take away everything else, and you see, but the 22 hours cooked, man. And I'll tell you, back here, we learned a lot trading Bitcoin. The 22-hour was like, I remember this specifically. Where was it? It was this area here. If we go back to the daily on this area, for some reason, right here it was. The daily never would go back to the dotted line. And this threw me off because as a stochastics RSI trader, I wanted to come back down here, you know? And when you couldn't get back here, I got frustrated because I'm like, man, I want a long. So I switched to the 22, and I noticed that every time the 22 was going below. And I started using the 22 to long instead of the daily, and I was nailing these swings. So that's when I learned to sometimes trust the 22 a little bit over the daily, but like I only do that at certain times. Like I can't tell you, it's like, it's weird. It's like you get these, it's like trader instinct, I guess. So like right now the 22 is too far away from the 21, and so is the 4. So it's just very unlikely we're going to continue to pump. You know, we have to consolidate.
You've got one of the busiest charts I've ever seen, but the way you control it and the way you know exactly what's going on in there is quite impressive.
Yeah, well, just so long, I guess. My brain, I have some type of weird like hyperactive disorder brain, so like I have to have things like kind of crazy. But yeah,
I can't deal with the clutter. I always have to clean mine up quickly.
But what I will do is when you watch me on my live, I have to delete everything. You know what I mean? And I have to just be like I'll get rid of all my little writings. So I'm like you. I'm just like, listen, like, and look, that's 26.8. You're the area that you got. And then even if you're just a support or resistance trader, I mean, that's your previous resistance. So you should come back to support. And then the VRVP has a gap here, and you got a high volume node right there. So like, is this too much coincidence? But again,
it's a good area.
I'm open-minded at
anything. When all these aspects tie in together, I get excited.
Yeah. But enough about me. You get me excited to show things. Because I'm just like, wow, that's awesome, you know, like to kind of, and I was like, I want to show him this. I want him to see this. But
No, well, I'm fascinated by what you do. There's a lot I can learn from you,
but you as
Yeah,
well too. I never want to say like I know I'm sure I could sit and watch you and I'd be like, wow, like I could take things away or simplify something. You know what I mean? So
so I mean, my basic outlook on trading is zoomed out perspective. I don't like to go in too much. I don't like to create unnecessary stress where there doesn't need to be. Sometimes if you zoomed in on the 15 minutes, as a trader, you catching a breakout, then you stop, then you up, then you down, you stop. But you zoom out to the daily and you've moved 2%, and you could have lost the same amount of money on one stop loss under a daily candle, for example, and had half the stress and carried on with your other job. So I try and simplify things as much as I can. So my focus is always 4 hour and daily as my bread and butter areas, high impact zones. So I like high time frame fibs. I like big daily levels, weekly levels, big areas of support. I know I'm going to get a reaction there. I can't guarantee how high it's going to go, how low it's going to go, but I identify these reaction zones and I back these reaction zones. And, it depends how greedy you want to be, really. Sometimes we get a 2% bounce off a 618. Sometimes we get a 10% bounce. So that's up to the person themselves, how they want to manage taking profits. My main focus is reaction zones, short areas, long areas, no trade zones, and that sort of thing. And I just try and keep it simple.
Yeah. I'm huge on the 3-day chart. Like it's weird. I'm a swing trader. Like I just swung trade 20 grand in Caspa. I sold it all at 44. I'm waiting to get back in. Right. I'm like, I know I'm watching a 618 on the 3-day chart. And it's like the last time it took me 40 days to get back in. As a swing trader, you think you're going to get back in 2 weeks, but like, no, man, like this may take 50 days. Like,
did you see that Caspa move off the 618 yesterday?
off the, I didn't get to look at it because I was like, when I do a long-term trade, like right now, like I don't want to look at like kind of like you, like I'm avoiding looking at the short-term Casper moves because my mind is set on like only waiting for the 3-day to reset like drastically, right?
Let me show you this. Let me show you this chart quickly. We had some of the guys catch this Casper yesterday. Just a classic 618 play. So I've got two. Well, I've got one sort of bearish setup for Casper, which is this potential head and shoulders playing out here. I don't know what you think about that one. But we had Casper. Yep. We had Casper just slowly drifting down into the zone, slowly, and then bang, 618 yesterday, massive move. I think we got about a 15% off there. Yep. Look at this thing. 14%.
What's crazy is how I trade Casper, right, is the exact same way I just pointed out how Bitcoin's coming back, because the 3-day got away from the 21 SMA and I drew a flag and I drew a 618 and I said, you're going to have to retrace back to the 21 SMA. And like that constant is what is like such a great thing for me, because when I first started trading, not knowing, like, right, everything was chaotic, right? Like I do this, I do that. Now I'm always like, nope, 21 SMA, like
your system.
I have a constant, thank the Lord, right? You know what I mean? Because I remember when I wasn't, it's like being it's like treading water as opposed to having something to float on. You know what I mean? It's like,
so, but when you first discover trading, you start chasing a golden indicator and something that's going to give you the edge and whatever. And you know what happens? You often end up going back to where you started and keeping things simple.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to branch off and have all sorts of indicators and all sorts of things. And, at the end of the day, we're working mainly on levels. If you just trade levels, you might actually be okay. If you just trade the MAs, you might actually be okay. You don't need to overcomplicate things, right?
It's true. Very true. Levels are so important. Yeah, like where do you see, if you were in my position, you were going to buy back Casper, where do you see a place to get in?
So I'm looking at it now a little bit bearish. Yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect head and shoulders, but you can see
I think it's perfect, man. I think it's like textbook. It's like,
so Casper's a very volatile coin, so I wouldn't leverage trade it too hard or on high leverage. But if I was low leverage or spot, I'd look at sort of staggering buys. I love this area down here, the 200-day MA786 horizontal. For me, I like that. Should get a reaction here. Should get a bounce. But again, we don't know the power of this and the power of the community behind Caspa. I mean, whenever we've thought this thing is tired, it just carried on and it carried on. It's what, 6,000-7,000% up this year. You must be quite happy with that. So will it come down this far? You know, it remains to be seen. But I think this is quite a good zone here, this 0.027.
I didn't know about it till it was like maybe a little under half a penny, and I didn't buy it till it was like 0.08, and it was a small position. When I really started swinging it, I swung it from 1 to 3 3/8 cents, and then I got back in when it went to 1 and 1.5, or you know, and I loaded up a lot. See that Adam and Eve double bottom where your white line starts? That's where I loaded up, you know, because it was an Adam and Eve with a 618, and I was like, yeah, right, that's an where your white line started is your triangle and the half
move.
I wrote
one of our traders, Dave, when you were on our show, Dave, he caught this off a 786 retracement as well.
I called that a cup and handle too. You see that? Like I looked at that as a cup and a handle, Sammy cup and handy, and that thing exploded. Like it was just like.
I know Dave
price discovery. We got into price discovery, and we knew we were going to. And then we had the huge divergence on the daily. The 3-day chart gave you a bearish div, and that's when I took profit. And I'm waiting to get back in now. I believe this is a great long-term project. I want to have a bag of it, but I was in it for 20 racks, so I would have lost $7,000 had I held it right now. You know, I was not.
Do you like my buy zone? Or do you want to see lower?
It's exactly where mine is. It's the same exact area. Like my level is like a 2.3 to 2.6, right?
Yeah, 0.026.
Yeah.
It just looks like a nice solid
Rand drew that like one day. He just drew that line. He was like, yeah, I'll get it at 2.6 again. Like he just like, you know, like just real simple. Like there's the trend, get it back when it comes to the trend, done. He's like, call it a day. It took him like a half a second. He was like, I'll buy it 2.6. It was funny.
Yeah, look, he's quite a good trader too. But yeah, good area. I like that. What else shall we take a look at? What else are you talking to with your community about?
You know, there's another coin that I like that no one really mentions a lot. It's really small though, but everyone tells me that the guy, I don't want to say EA Sports. I'll dig it up, but he's from, you know, he was in a big gaming company already, and it's called Games for a Living. I'm in it for like $1,700. Like I want to build a position. The market cap's tiny. It's on Mex Global, so it's very small. But that's something I'm looking at. It's consolidating with like an uptrend, and like no one really seems to know about it, but it seems to have.
What's the ticker?
GFAL.
I have heard of this thing. Games for a Living.
Yeah, it's like the new Gala. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it can do what Gala did in the last run. See, that trend has been holding nice. It's kind of like an ascending triangle when you like start mapping it out. And it was almost going to lose that a few times, and it didn't. It's been pretty interesting. Tiny market cap. It's like if this thing gets to 100, I'll 50x it. It will be amazing. Yeah.
So these are spot sort of setups. You don't want to be leveraging these types.
No, not at all. It doesn't have enough of a spread, I don't think, to leverage it. Yeah. But it just. I mainly leverage. I don't leverage trade a lot of altcoins because you have to remember, I started leverage trading in March. Every time I have leverage trade an altcoin, sometimes it gets a little hairy. You know what I mean? I find the moves are crazy. Like I think I can handle 10x or 8x, and then it's like it's not like 8x Bitcoin trade. It's like out of
things
control.
Can get spicy.
Oh, yeah,
things can get spicy very quickly. I mean, we've had situations where you at your desk and things look okay, and you go and you get lunch, and you come back 30 minutes later, and everything is gone.
I have literally squeezed lemon into my water. I have literally just done this. Like everything's great. I'm like, I mean, I watch it for like an hour straight. Like I'm milking it. I'm like, all right. Like, and then I'm like, I'm down like $500.
Look, leverage trading is not for everybody. You know, leverage trading is a very stressful thing. And that's also why I say, you know, you need to step back and look at the 4 hours and the daily stuff. If you're trying to leverage trade 15-minute candles, you're going to get caught up into it, and you're going to be there all day, and you're going to overtrade. You're going to take 8 trades in a day where you could have just taken one, with way less stress, you know, off a good area. So yeah, look, leverage trading is not for everybody. It's a very stressful.
But see, the shady thing I've learned is I've been looking at the 15 before, right? And say like, I'll just put a 27.4 as a resistance, and the 15 is trying to break it, and it can't. And then I catch like a head and shoulder on the 15, and I catch a short, and then the daily turns and dumps. And like, had I not watched the 15 lose the level, like, so I've done the 4 hour and the daily thing before and not looked at the smaller time frames. And you could, sometimes I wish I didn't look at it. I'll be honest. Like, just, I tell my students, like, we can perfect entries using the 15 and the 1, or we can just put a level in the 4 hour and let it sit and not look at any other time frames. You know, it depends on how anal you want to be.
So we've got some excellent traders that actually, you know, they'll use the 4 hours, but they'll go in on the 15-minute or the 5-minute to snipe that perfect.
Yeah, I just want to perfect, exactly, because I know that I can get a better entry just by seeing detail. That's the only reason I do it. Exactly. You just hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
So sometimes I don't have time for that. If I see it's a good zone and I like the zone, I go for it.
100%. I'm with you too. The other day I was looking at something. I was like, I could probably snipe a better entry. It's like, I gotta go. Like, my kids gotta go somewhere. The 4 hour looks good to me. Like, let's just put my levels in.
If this thing pumps, I don't care about 0.5%, you know. It doesn't matter. But then if you've got the time, you know, you can really like dial in and get some accurate entries there. So there is a place for it for sure. But if you get caught up all day in 15 minutes and 5-minute candles, the reason I'm saying that is because I used to do that when I started trading, and it's very stressful. And it doesn't always work out. I mean, you end up over trading. I mean, you can never be in a position where you taking 10 trades a day. I mean, just the odds are going to be stacked against you. Like, there can't be that, you know, unless you.
I was like, yesterday I took like 8. I was like, I won 6 of them, man. Like, you know, no, but
it's just way too stressful.
No, it was. When I went to bed last night, you have no idea. Like, just, I've been leverage trading more than ever. I've been winning more at my leverage trade, so it's making me want to do it more, right? So I'm like, I've been like, and so you get into that, like, oh, when you want to, you know, keep going. And it's like, last night I think I was up till 1 in the morning. I was like, I gotta go to sleep, you know, like.
So a key takeaway for me that I learned very quickly is that, especially in leverage trading, if you start showing your wife or your friends your P&L on a trade, that is the top. Okay.
Yeah, I said that on my live stream the other day. When you're telling your friends or calling someone to tell them you're winning, you're probably,
that is the top.
Yeah.
That's when you exit. When you think you know what's going on with the market, you don't. That is the top. Like, if the day you think you know what's going on with your trades and you're winning and whatever, that's when you actually need to take a break, because it's that overconfidence that comes in and it bites you. And if you leverage trading, it bites you hard, and it bites you in a day. And you can go from hero to zero very quickly. So, you know, you really need it when things feel too easy. It's time to cool off.
It's funny you said that, because you gave me deja vu when the biggest hurdle that I had was I was a great trader, but I didn't realize that when the trend changed. So I didn't realize how to watch trend on the daily or the 4 hour, really, right? So I'm hitting my 1 hour, this is my 4 hour trades. I'm swinging, I'm doing great. And then I keep trading into the downtrend, and then just keep giving it up. And I'm like, and I'm like, what's up? And I think it's me. I don't know that I'm just, that's why I tell everyone out there, if you might be this close. I saw that picture of the guy, he's underground and he's digging for diamonds, and he turns away when he's like, there's only like this much more earth left. And if he just breaks through, like, there's diamonds on the other end. You're closer than you realize, you know, and you may get discouraged. And I believe that's why they say only 1% of 10% of traders are successful. It's not really because it's that difficult. It is difficult, but most people turn away before they're like about to get to like an epiphany or about to realize something. And then it really, I love it because it's like, my dad was an iron worker. It's like the strong survive, man. I think that's why me and you connect. That's why traders connect. Like, we're the ones that made it out on the other side. Like, we shouldn't be here.
We didn't give away,
but we kept moving, you know? Yeah. So and let me wrap this up, because we could go all day. I love talking to you, but what keeps you moving? What keeps you motivated? Is it your family? Do you have kids? Like,
family is a very big part of my life. I've got 4 kids.
Oh, wow. Good for you, man. 4
various
kids?
ages, but family's my life. And I found a passion for trading. You know, I found a passion for work life quite late in my life. I did various other things. I was a property developer. I had a few businesses and that sort of thing, but nothing ever ignited a fire in my soul the way trading does, you know. And I've become obsessed with it, and I love talking about it, and I love sharing my charts and just helping other people and taking them and sort of trying to give them a shortcut to becoming a successful trader, because I bumped my head clocking those hours, getting wrecked, losing money, you know, figuring out a system that worked for me. And I want to give that information to people and say, hang on, you can do this. Like, you will be okay. Just calm down. Let's look at this way. This is how I'm doing things. This is how I figured out. And I'm really passionate about that, you know. And I think it's that passion that sort of led into me now getting a show on the Banter channel, which is coming. And I'm looking forward to sharing that
Oh yeah,
with everybody.
let's talk about that real quick. This dude's a rising star, everyone. I mean, he's on the way. So tell us what's happening. You're getting your own show. Something's happening. This is big.
So yeah, so I've been doing a lot of back end stuff for Sheldon, and I've never been a sort of an out there type of person. I wasn't big on presenting. I was quite a reluctant presenter, but you know, things just happened organically here, and I started appearing on Sheldon's show quite a lot. And I think people enjoyed what I was bringing to it, you know, just slightly different style of trading. I mean, Sheldon and I have very similar systems, but then there's a couple of things that I do differently. And I was looking at so many charts every day, and I was here ready to share them, and I was doing back end work and that sort of stuff for Sheldon. And things have just happened organically. And, you know, I was offered the World Series of Trading show that you came on. It was my first one. So thanks for that.
Oh, cool. I'm honored.
And that went quite well. We had decent views. We had a good session the next day too. And yeah, it looks like I'm getting my own slot now within the next few weeks. So I'm just behind me. You see my office. I'm busy prepping my office. I'm turning it into a studio, getting some cool stuff, you know, setting it up. But yeah, I'm very excited about it.
So
And
awesome.
yeah,
And
I'm
what
just
is
going to bring my flavor. You know, guys know what they get from me. It's no frills.
Oh,
It's very
BS.
simple.
Yeah, like me, man. I love it. It's spot on, man. That's why you rock it. Where are we going to be able to see you? Time, day? Do we know that?
So yeah, there's a new channel launching, linked to Banter. So we'll drop those details soon, but it looks like it's going to be a 4:15 p.m. my time slot. So I
Okay.
think that's US. We are Central South Africa time, GMT +2. So
Fuck.
that's probably early morning Eastern time. I would say
Okay.
7, somewhere around there.
Well, yeah, because when I was on with you, it was like 7 in the morning, and that was you
Yeah.
guys were 2. Might be 9
Yeah.
in the morning, right? Well,
So we are 4. It's probably going to be 4:15 South Africa time. I'm bringing BTC analysis. I'm bringing my regular altcoin analysis, and then I'm bringing stocks. I'm bringing US stocks. I'm
nice.
bringing gold. I'm bringing silver. A little bit of extra flavor with my trading style, my system, and yeah, hopefully people enjoy it. And if they do, we'll carry on going.
Yeah, no, it sounds great, man, and it's gonna be clear, concise, and well presented.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you
super
so much for your
excited.
time. I know you're busy. You're running around over there at the Banter headquarters, but thank you so much for coming on to the show.
I really appreciate the invite, and yeah, what a pleasure to join you. And thanks. I'm looking forward to having you again as a guest on my show.
I just feel honored, man. You brought me on one of the biggest channels in crypto, and you know I'll always remember that. So thank you so much for you doing that. And that's you know, I'll always have your back, bro. I'm a loyal dude like that, and I'll remember.
Same, yeah. Same, yeah. Thank you.
God bless you and your family, man. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll catch you on the next show on
Great to
Crypto
be here.
Lifer, man. You're a Crypto
We'll see
Lifer,
you
baby.
soon. Cheers.
Cheers, man.